muted. If y'all start hearing a bunch of background noise or something and you need me to mute it, just holler and let me know, okay? Otherwise, here we go. Take it away, Christopher.
Well, I'll get started. For those that may have not got to hear our story, I'm going to share real quick about how we got involved with Zilis and talk about the two aspects of Zilis. One is the product, the other is the opportunity. But I will tell you, in October the 28th, I guess a chiropractor friend of ours reached out to Kim maybe just a day or two before that and said, hey, you know, how's your back? And Kim's a salon owner and has had a broke back. No, just kidding. A bad back for quite some time. And so, and he knew that. So he said, hey, I got a product. I just want you to get it in your body and I'll reach back out to you in a few days. And that right there was really the stepping stones for us to become an ambassador for Zilis, because we got to see results really quick with Kim. And it wasn't but a few days, maybe a week later, that we were actually looking at a piece of property to build a new salon, crazy enough as that sounds. And, you know, Kim said, you know what, I think I could retail this in the salon and help pay for the land. And so we started probably about a week or two into it. We actually started looking at the business side of it. And it just took off from there. Mm-hmm. So I will tell you, I see several, you know, that are couples on here. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things. Kim's a salon owner, goes her way during the day. I work in a corporate world for a power company and go my own way. So this is one thing that we really get to do together. And we love the opportunity. We have so much fun in doing it. We've met some incredible people. And not only is it changing lives in the wellness, but also changing people's financial lives. And to get to do that while having fun and being with somebody that you love and care so much about, it's a blessing.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to dive in and talk a little bit about the company first. Stephen and Angie Thompson are Texans. They actually met at a 6th grade birthday party. They've been together forever. I love their heart. I love their commitment to each other and to this company and really to everybody in it. And you see that in them a lot. The company was originally founded in 2015. And what is interesting is that when it started, Stephen had a passion about these little multivitamin packs that he had created, and he was sending them all over the world for malnutrition children. And that was going to be Zilis. And in doing that, he met a doctor who had the science behind creating those vitamins and those multivitamin packs and helping those to be water soluble. And so in 2017, when CBD started its, launch on the world, they partnered that science and CBD together. And it's just been an explosion. You can't turn on the news without seeing something about hemp, about the industry, about the product, about the legalization of it. And quite honestly, Zilis is quite often on there as well. It's they've been, pioneers in the industry. They've been direct sales and multi-level marketing for 25 years, and they're only in their 40s. They've had, hundreds of thousands of people in their downline. And so when I say he mentors us, he has mentored us. When I tell you that I want to lock arms with you, it's because he's locked arms with us. And I consider him a mentor. And something that I'm proud to always say is that he was recently voted one of the top 40 mentors in the country by his peers. So, we're not the only ones that think so. And you when you're in a room with him, he's very powerful. His knowledge from creating, he calls it seed to shelf of the product, but then also of a comp plan and of our benefits that we get, and just so many things. And you'll see his personality coming through on a lot of the benefits in the slides that we present. So where the heck did CBD come from, and why all of a sudden is it finally separated and understood the difference between hemp and marijuana? And really, when you dive in and kind of pull back the layers, it's called the endocannabinoid system. And Christopher, don't worry if you can't say it, because we couldn't
Neither
say
can I.
it. We couldn't say it for a long time. But the short of endocannabinoid system is the ECS system. And it goes through our entire body, and it's in everything that has a spine. I learned this past week that it's in every animal except insects. I didn't know that. And it runs from our brain all the way through our body, and it affects all the different systems that are in our body. And what happens is, we naturally, as humans, we make cannabinoids, and those cannabinoids start being lesser than in our body due to just health and aging, and just these different systems having problems with it. So when I look at this chart, what jumps out in my mind is the muscular and skeletal system, because I know that when Monty dropped off that bottle for me for my back, that if I look at these systems, the thing that was screaming out of balance was my muscular and skeletal system. Lots of pain in my back and hips from standing behind the chair for 40 years. And then because I was taking so much over the counter, anti-inflammatory product, that was causing some digestive issues. And so those are my two. But every single person that you talk to, you can see where they fall into these different systems and where they got out of balance. And when they get out of balance, you're going to feel it. And it's one of my most interesting people that I've spoken with is a doctor here in the Dallas area. And he had a children's mobile that hung over a baby's crib. And he took a clip and he put it, at first when he's holding it, all of those parts of that mobile were equal and balanced. And he took a clip and he said, this is your body with problems with respiratory system. And of course it pulled the mobile out of balance, right? And then he went and he said, and now we're going to give it a prescription to try to make it better. And it went way out of balance the other way. And he said the thing that the discovery that gets that endocannabinoid system back in balance are cannabinoids. And they are the solution to the problem with our endocannabinoid system being out of balance and bringing homeostasis back to that system. And the thing that does that is cannabinoids. And first of all, we're going to talk about CBD. So CBD is Zilis's first product. They make it in a sublingual and in a topical. They are the leader in CBD sales and just product. And I'm going to try to explain to you, if nothing else, when you get off the call, I want you to fully understand why you should buy a certain brand, whether it's Zilis or one of the other top in the nation, when you go shopping for CBD oil for you, for yourself or for your family, what you're looking for. Zilis is going to shine out from that, but you never, ever want to purchase CBD that doesn't follow these kind of gold standards, right? And the very first one is called Full Spectrum. And Full Spectrum is using the entire hemp plant in your product. The opposite of that is called an isolate. And an isolate is when they draw the CBD out of the plant and that's all that's in the bottle. And you're going to get some benefits from it, but nothing like using the whole plant. Because when they use the entire hemp plant, there are 400 compounds that come from that plant and get into that bottle. And it's not only cannabinoids, it's terpenes and it's vitamins and minerals and omegas and proteins. And everyone likes to tell the funny story of Christopher and I making our first video because we wanted a visual of all the things that are in this plant. And so we wrote down protein and we wrote down the different vitamins and minerals. We found the certificate of authenticity that Zilis puts out, and we wrote down all those things. We went to the grocery store and we bought a product that represented all of those things. Well, first of all, it was $176. It was expensive. Secondly, it was disgusting. We had salmon and we had sardines and we had an apple and we had an orange and it was disgusting. And stuck it in a blender to just to kind of have a visual of what all it would take to make that full spectrum product. And it takes a lot and it would be impossible to get it into your body every day. But Zilis does that with their superior formulation. And one of the things we love the most about Zilis is that it's so superior that it's even pet friendly. And you will find as you start shopping for your CBD that quite often it's two separate products. And with Zilis, it doesn't have to be. We will say that raw tends to be the pet's favorite. There's berry and lemon as well. Men tend to kind of go for the berry flavor. I'll also say on that men tend to, that's what Christopher's saying now, is men tend to really respond well to the topical. And the reason for that is,
Well, I think for a lot of men that I know, they don't want to take something daily. They
uh-huh,
want to take something just when they hurt,
yeah,
and get that quick relief
I get that.
and be done with it.
Yeah.
So for me, exactly. If I play golf and I have ache or pain, I'm gonna rub that on and I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that it's also a great lead in if you've got a man and you know he's in pain. Christopher gets migraines. It's great for rubbing right directly where his migraines coming from. It's a great way to pull them in, and then you could get them, because if you would take it daily, you probably
Probably
wouldn't
wouldn't do.
hurt. But anyway, that's how it works best for him. And so there are some options there. But there is that U.S. Hemp Authority certification stamp right there with the big H. And I just want to talk just a second about that. We were talking about that for a few of you while we were waiting for you to jump on, but this is new, and there is a U.S. Hemp Authority table, round table, I think is what they call it, that has been formed by our government. And it contains people from medical field and science, and then your leaders in the top companies. And the only way to get this certification is if they've passed this multitude of things, meaning it's, under the legal amount of THC. It truly has CBD in it. It doesn't have any chemicals in it, right? And
Right.
and talk about what gets chemicals into a CBD product.
Well, really, it's so absorption. It's
Right.
anything that it touches, whether it's a herbicide or some type of fertilize, whether it's how they extract it.
Mm-hmm.
Zilis uses the most natural to keep all the, you know, well, let me back up. The easiest way to extract the oil out of the plant is to burn it out. But with that, you get all kinds of chemicals like uh, butane or propane, some type of
Mm-hmm.
gas that you're actually putting into your body. Zilis uses a CO2 cold press where they're just like 20,000 pounds per square
Mm-hmm.
inch that they just press this plant to get the oils out to keep it all natural.
Right, right. So they make sure that none of those chemicals are in this plant. So my hope and my dream, and I used to say this with nothing to back it, and after tonight's Freedom Call, I will say that I think that's definitely where it's headed, is that my hope is that there won't be CBD oils on the market without this stamp, or at least, or this seal, or at least that people and the public will be, it will be very clear to the public to not to not purchase a product that doesn't have that stamp on it. So we've talked about full spectrum. You've talked about, the way that it's extracted from the plant. Another thing that's super important when you're purchasing your CBD is, where was it grown? Stephen talks about from seed to shelf. He talks about, he wants to not only have it from hemp grown in the US, but he wants to know the farmer. And I love that. And I know that he will, and I know that he does. And so if you follow him on Facebook, you will see him visiting with the farms that he buys the hemp from. And I think that that's so important. One of the things, I don't know if you've seen this on the news lately, where, if you're a farmer and you're growing hemp, and your seed, for whatever reason, matures, and the hemp plant is too high in THC, you have to burn that crop. I mean, it can't be saved, it can't be used, it can't be sold as CBD. So there's just so many things that go into this. And as it continues to grow and to explode, we are in prohibition of the hemp product. And so it's so exciting to be part of something that's new.
Yeah. When we got started, this U.S. Hemp Authority certification was not actually out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I heard Stephen talk about it tonight, and what they're, is to keep the product safe. And Zilis is going to follow those same restrictions and do what it takes to make it safe, and
Mm-hmm.
where everybody understands what they're getting is what they're getting, and not just where somebody can just start their own business and go out and produce something and put it in a bottle and say, here you go. and you don't know what's in it. So I love that part of it.
Yeah.
Because I think, when we first started before the farm bill was passed, it was tough to share. People were like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
that passed, and then of course Texas passed in May, and it's just opened up a whole. It's just exploded.
Yeah.
So
And we
I
got
think
rid of the gray
we got
areas.
rid of the gray area, but I think still with gray area, there's always areas to improve, and I think this is one of the ways that we're looking at, along with the government, is how do we make it as safe a product as possible.
When you were talking, I thought, we just put on it's called the Best Little Brew Fest in Texas. And then we survived that Saturday. And I think this was our 7th year.
7th year.
And 7 years ago, I was approached by someone that was a lover of craft beer. I mean, Donnie. And I met up with him, and he was like, I want to do this event. We don't have one in Texas. They have one in Colorado that's huge. And let's make it, completely for a charity organization and a nonprofit. But anyway, most of the people that were creating craft beer were doing it in big tubs in their backyard and in their bathtub. And and Christopher Stephen talked about that tonight. Yeah. Is how there are little bitty mom and pop farms that are creating product that is being put on the shelf. And so that's what this certification is all about, is to keep it safe, to keep what's in our body a good product. And so again, it's a very important part of when you're shopping for the oil. So CBG, this is our newest product. It's only been out for about 3 weeks. CBG, I'm going to tell you a couple of things about it, and every day I learn something else about it. But the difference between CBG and CBD is CBG is called the mother of the hemp plant, or the stem cell of the hemp plant, because all hemp plants, when they start off and they're tiny, like 6 weeks and younger, they are very, very high in CBG. As they grow and mature, they become high in CBD and other cannabinoids. And so the only way to extract CBG and to get it high enough content and absorption to create a whole bottle of it is to either seed it and breed it from the seed, and grab it then, or to grab it from those baby plants. And Zilis is the only national company that is producing CBG. There are some of those mom and pop companies. If you Google CBG and there's one guy that I really like listening to that has a small farm in Colorado, but he's very intelligent about CBG and the other cannabinoids. But it's definitely the next frontier. It has some of the same benefits that CBD does. And one of the biggest benefits of CBG is that it makes your CBD work better. It opens up some of those receptors running through our body that we talked about in the endocannabinoid system. The things that it does differently on top of your CBD is it has, I'm going to call it, a little bit of a natural muscle relaxer to it. It's really been a great addition to my CBD for my back pain. It also, the biggest thing you hear people talk about with CBG is the gut. So things, anything that let's just say from the throat all the way through the belly, any issue that you're having with that, I'm seeing customers with fantastic results from that. The bladder, another great area. If you are a frequent riser during the night with your bladder, take a few drops of CBG before bedtime, and you will find that you have a whole lot less problem with that. It's also great for many skin conditions. I've got a client that we're testing it with for her eczema. I could go on and on. I'll tell you, if you haven't done it yet, Google CBG and see what all, because there's several things that it's doing that I can't say. I can't name diseases and things like that. So trying to tell you about it without naming those things, I just always highly recommend that you do a little research and Google it as well, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So Kim shared with you a little bit about the science, and one of the things that separates Zilis from from the rest of the industry, I think, is the ultracell technology. With CBD, you might say there's a problem, and that is it's oil, and oil and water don't mix, and really 95% of our body's made of water. And what Zilis has done is made it water soluble. And, with doing that, they also did a third party study back in February of 2018, where they took 20 people and let them try the product and tested them every hour for 12 hours. And you can see they had that first hour, you have this rapid onset where it jumps to almost 90%, 94 at the highest. And it stays that way in the body every hour for the next 12 hours. We kind of joke about it that we just ran out of money in doing the testing, but I'm sure it's not going to be a drastic just fall off. I'm sure it continues on for several hours after that. But when you look at the average, I'm going to say oil supplements, it's 3 to 6% absorption, where Zilis is having somewhere around 80 to 90%. And to me, that's a huge difference.
I agree. I agree. I think that one of the biggest things I hear, and I think me and Cheryl, y'all probably heard me talk about this last week, but the number one thing that I get from someone when I go to share with them a 7-day challenge bottle, and I say, get this in your body, and I'm going to check back with you in a few days. I usually hear from them, just like chiropractor heard from me quicker, but they talk about how much faster they felt something and how much longer it lasted and how many more results that they got. So we've talked about full spectrum. We've talked about how they got it out of the plant. We've talked about where the hemp is grown. And now this far sets Zilis apart, because if you find a company that says it's water soluble, you won't, unless if you do, let me know, because I've never been able to find it. You won't find a company that can present their clinical study, and we can. And so I love the fact that if Zilis says, hey, Kim and Christopher, go spend your time and talk about these things, I love the fact that they've got, the science to back it up. Right?
I agree.
And so, we said in the very beginning that Stephen does not want to be just a CBD oil company, and he's definitely not, and I think about those little shops in town that say CBD, and their big sign that they spent thousands of dollars for says CBD, and now here's CBG. And he's, that's why we're an endocannabinoid system company. And these are 4 boosters that Stephen created for Zilis that I can say so much, so I'm going to try to really limit my time.
She could talk for the whole hour on these 4 products.
I could, and I promise I won't.
Really could.
So the great thing about these products, and the important thing to remember, they do not contain CBD. Okay. And so they're fantastic for someone that says to you, for whatever reason, can't, won't, shouldn't, whatever, going to take CBD. This is the product that you can direct them to for that. But it also is a fantastic addition or booster to your CBD and your CBG. Because for some people, especially in the beginning, I had so much pain. I was on so much over the counter anti-inflammatory that I needed to slowly transition, right? And so I got on CBD, had amazing results with sleep and anxiety and pain. But one of the very first time I think we went to a large event, they started talking about ice. And ice, remember, it's made with that same science that Christopher just showed you of it being water soluble, but it's full of turmeric. And so turmeric is one of those things that you can cook with it, you can take it and do all those things, and you're going to stay at that absorption rate of about 7%. But with Ultra Ice, it's 60% high in the natural anti-inflammatory ingredients that are in it with turmeric and the other. So ice is great for, it's a product that Christopher could take every day, and it would probably prevent the headaches because it reduces inflammation, and almost all diseases come from inflammation. And which leads me into the next product, Edge. People who know me know I'm very passionate about Edge. Edge is for cognitive thinking and focus, and it's for the brain. Yeah. And my dad passed away from Parkinson's. My mom passed away from Alzheimer's. So this product is extremely important to me. If you love to study and you like details, I highly recommend that you go into your back office and print off the sheets. It will have all the ingredients. And if you look up the ingredients in Edge, there's 9 of them that are active, 7 of them that are for the brain, not only today, but in the future. And so I will take a dropper full of Edge every day just for the preventive of the inflammation in my brain. Alzheimer's has been found to come from inflammation that produces plaque, and then that plaque causes the little holes in the brain and the memory issues. So Edge is also, you will hear, you'll have to always check with pediatrician and your doctor, but Edge is also being found to be used for children and adults with attention disorders. I didn't name a disease. So the third one is Dream. Dream is the #1 selling booster product at the salon because so many people have trouble sleeping. Not Christopher, but I do. And Dream is full of GABA and chamomile and yep, it's gone right now. I need my Edge. But anyway, it's got several ingredients in it that melatonin, sorry, that really help with sleep. And the interesting thing about Dream is that it is great for not only, remember the high absorption rate, so, and remember how fast things work with that science. So for me, 4 drops of Dream and I am out. And if I do wake up from pain in my back where my ice is worn off or CBD, I can go right back to sleep. So Dream is an excellent product if you have any issues with sleep. And the fourth one is Burn. Burn is our newest. It came out in March. It's great for curbing your appetite, reducing cravings. It converts fat to sugar. So, I mean, let me try that again. It converts sugar to energy. And so it's fantastic for helping with weight loss. But the thing that I love probably the most about Burn, and I'll probably sell as much of it for this as I do for weight loss. Again, if you study the ingredients that are in Burn, it has several ingredients that are fantastic for mood. I'll just say that. I didn't say anything about the disease. So just check into that if you enjoy those and you enjoy the ingredients part of things and the science. Those pages are in your resources, and you can really dive in to those ingredients and study even more to see the effects of what all they can help. So this is that's the product part of it. We're going to start the business here in just a second, but before we do, I just want to say I talked to you a little bit about Stephen in the beginning and creating the multivitamin packs for kids. He also makes prenatals. Zilis makes prenatals for expectant mothers all over the world, and his promise to all of the Zilis ambassadors at our festival a few weeks ago is that he is providing prenatals for every single pregnant women in Haiti. And so he just continues to grow his heart and his methods of giving back. But the one that means the most to Christopher and I is his Patriot program. And when we first got into Zilis as an ambassador, we could go on and buy any product of CBD at the deepest wholesale level and get it into the hands of a nonprofit. And then the nonprofit like Kill 22 and several other 501c3s could get it into the hands of our veterans. But now he's made it so much better where our veterans can actually go on and get this product themselves. If they want to work the business that we're fixing to show you, they can do that as well and save money going into the business so that they can actually add to their income as well. But, you know, CBD has been found to help with PTSD and addiction and depression and, you know, all the different things that our veterans sometimes face when they come back from serving our country. So I think that he's on to something. I think that we as ambassadors are extremely excited to be getting the product into our veterans' hands and watching that grow. So those are his methods of giving back, which is extremely important to Christopher and I.
So I'm going to jump right on into the business opportunity. And one of the things that I think is great about this is right after that last slide, because I feel like there's so much that kind of they balance each other out. Mm-hmm. Because what Stephen does for our veterans and for third world countries, as far as the prenatal vitamins, he's doing a lot of the same things for all the ambassadors.
Mm.
in the business opportunity.
Yeah.
You'll hear it as we go through, but Kim and I feel like it's very important in our lives that her successful business, and we're capable of giving back to the community. And I just think Stephen, the same thing that we felt was so important to helping others. It's one of the reasons we jumped in with Zilis, because Stephen, if you ever get to hear him talk, you'll realize real quick that it's at the ultimate high of his
Mhm.
lifestyle, and that's taking care of others.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to jump right on into the business plan, and I joke through this at times, and one of them's this slide right here, because with Zilis, you have the opportunity to earn 7 different ways, and it can be you get paid on some of these weekly, you get paid some of them on monthly, you get some of them quarterly. But one of the things I always say is, working in the corporate world, my paycheck, I get 7 things deducted out of it. With Zilis, I get 7 different pay methods, and I love that. I love that we can work right now from home, sitting right here in our living room. We get to work by phone. Kim, and I'll say we're both, Kim especially, uh, we're part time at this.
Definitely.
Kim is behind the chair. I kid about it, but it's probably 60 hours a week. Yes, it is. And then I work in the corporate world, so our time to do this is those nooks and crannies of the day that she applies time with reaching out to somebody, but at the same time, it's the evenings and scheduling to be out of town if we need to be somewhere. But you get so many opportunities to get to work from home, set your own hours, and it really doesn't require just a whole lot of expense up front, other
Yeah.
than having a computer or a phone to be able
Yeah.
to call somebody.
Everybody's got that.
So why don't you jump in, since you're the retail queen?
So the first way that we're going to talk about is retail, and it's immediate income. You don't have to wait for a weekly check or a monthly check. You're gonna, when you join Zilis, you'll get product, and when you sell that, you make retail. And one of the interesting things that Stephen did with Zilis is he made a unique tiered pricing system, to where if you buy 1 bottle, you make good money, and if you buy in bulk, you make really good money, and you can make up to 200% profit on those products that you're buying. And so as a customer, you can save money. As a ambassador, you can save money on your wholesale and turn that into large retail profits. This slide is just a great visual of the power of duplication before we talk about building a team. And that's always tease and say, that's me in the green dress. And the first 4 people that we signed up, that signed up for, that signed up for, that signed up for. If you do that 6 times, you're talking about almost 4,100 people that just come from those original 4 that you sign up. And the way that Stephen structured our pay for the building the team is called binary. And binary simply means 2 teams, a left and a right team. And so with that, there are different ranks that you can goal towards. Christopher and I are national, working really hard to get to presidential. They all have a weekly cap, and this is the only part of the pay with Zilis that's capped, because the reason it is because you're not only making up to $130 on who you personally enroll, you're making 20% on all your team's enrollments, and they're making 20%, and they're making 20%. So in order to keep the company alive and floating, there are caps, but you can see that it goes all the way up to Black Diamond, and they make $30,000 a week. To kind of get your head wrapped around how new Zilis is, there's only 1 couple that's Black Diamond. There's no triple diamonds. There are 2 double diamond couples and 1 diamond couple. So it's still extremely new in the people that are becoming part of this explosion of this industry. And so this part of your pay is paid weekly. Too bad I can't click it.
The next one's the generation, which I guess is the third way. But so everybody that Kim and I personally sign up would be considered our first generation, whether that's 1 or 100 people. That is no matter how many's on our team, everybody that we personally sign up is our first generation. Everybody they sign up would be our second generation, and everybody they sign up, personally sign up, would be their third generation, all the way through basically infinity. I'll say six generations. But it's kind of simple to do the math. If you take the six generations, you have a capability of having 4,096 on your team. Well, when you see that royalty of 5% through the first, second, and third generation, and then you get 4% on the fourth and three and two, and once you hit achieve area, you unlock it to infinity. But that's on the retail. So for every, let's say for every bottle, if everybody on your team each month bought one bottle of product, from that 2% to 5%, that's probably on the average is somewhere around $3.50. You're looking at probably a little over $15,000 a month just in this generation bonus.
Mhm. We call this our mailbox money, which, I'm in a um, business where if I'm not standing behind the chair actually doing a haircut, I don't have an income. And I know many of us are like that, whether you're a realtor or a chiropractor or whatever you are. If you're not actually doing your job, it's, you don't have a paycheck. And so, when we found the desire, and when it was laid on us, I should say, to buy the land and to move the salon, I couldn't do enough hair to pay for the land. There's no way. And so that same week, the chiropractor dropped off the bottle. We totally believed that this was a gift, for us to be able to move forward, because it's going to bless our team at the salon, as well as bless us and bless the team, that we have with Zilis. But this is given to us monthly. I will say that it is the fastest part of all the 7 ways that we're getting paid. To me, this is growing the fastest.
Yes.
So this is based only on product, not on people. This is paid monthly. And once you reach that area rank, it unlocks and it pays it through infinity.
So I'm going to talk about, there's really 5, what I call blessing bonuses, but the first one is truly called the blessing bonus. And when you sign up for, you receive up to $500 a month. And the only stipulation is you have to give it away, whether that's to a church, to a charity of your choice, whatever it is. I get to share this part because I had an employee at work that they had taken in three kids right before school started here, and I knew financially it was going to be hard on them, and I didn't know what kind of help they were going to get financially from the system.
Right.
So I got to give this check to them just to help go buy their school clothes or school supplies. And when I think of, I've heard Stephen talk about Tom shoes, where you buy one, he gives away a pair of shoes. This is kind of what started this whole system here. And one of the things that I really think the world of is when I've talked about this before, when I go to Starbucks and I go get ready to pay, and somebody said, the gentleman before you picked up your bill. And I think it's such a warm feeling to know somebody did that for me. And so I love the blessing bonus. We get it monthly, and I just love getting to do something special with it. When those 4 sign up for, you receive the Jeep bonus, and you got 2 choices there. You get a Jeep Wrangler or a Cherokee. And if you don't want either one of those, you can get half of the 1,200, up to 1,200 per month. But I will tell you, we qualified for the Jeep on day 28. We didn't believe it. So it was probably another 3 months before we actually purchased one. And I will tell you, it looks better, it rides better when somebody else pays for it.
That's true. That's true. It is pretty, y'all.
Well, then when they sign up for, you qualify for health care. So Kim, being self-employed, was paying some high dollar health insurance. And I, when we got married, that's one of the things I got to do is put her on my insurance at work. And the great thing about this is all I had to do was take a picture of my paycheck, where I was deducting out for my
One of your
insurance.
7 things.
Yes,
Yep.
and my health care, card,
Mhm.
and Zilis reimburses us for it.
Mhm.
100% up to $1,500 a month, depending on your rank. And I kind of get emotional on this one because I remember my dad telling me that, he would have liked to have retired about 5 years earlier. And it wasn't really because of their expenses, but he continued to work because of the health
Mm.
care for him and mom.
It's
So
a
it's
huge
a
cost.
it's a huge cost, and I think it's a great benefit.
I do too. I do too.
When they sign up for, you qualify for the global bonus, and Kim and I just received our third global bonus. This is paid quarterly, but basically it's taken all the products sold through Zilis in that quarter, taking 2% of that revenue and putting aside. And quarterly, it's divvied out to those that are regional or above, get a percentage of that 2%. So I will tell you, our first month was our first check was pretty nice, and we were surprised. But we've got our second one back in June or July, and it had tripled, and then we just received our third. So it continues to go up.
Mhm.
So we continue to be really excited about that.
Yeah.
I kind of joke about this is my 401 at work, except I don't really have to donate anything into it.
Sure.
But that's a
That's true.
good way to look at it.
Yes.
And then when they sign up for, you qualify for the motor coach. Two stipulations for it is that it's got to be 34 foot in length and a diesel, or you can choose to take the 3000.
It does not come with a driver.
Yeah, but who wouldn't want to motor around even for a little while
Yeah.
in a motor coach,
It'll be pretty cool.
to go to different events.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just a fun one, and can't wait to get there.
So you can see that when we say we're going to talk about that there's 7 different ways we get paid. There's 5 just on this one slide. So there's really actually many, many more, and we won't bog you down with the entire comp plan, but it's deep and it's full and it's rich, and he
And we're still
definitely
learning.
Yeah, and we're still learning, and he definitely designed it to benefit those ambassadors in ways that not only in some companies that he actually experienced, but in many that he didn't, and he felt like he wanted to make a difference. So this is my favorite slide, because being a business person, I love me some numbers. And in the salon industry, you get like ecstatic if there's a 16% growth, for your year. And so when I see these numbers, I can't even hardly wrap my head around it. But I know that Zilis grew 500% their first year, and we're on pace to grow 1,000% this year. But as an industry, which is what these numbers are, these are not Zilis numbers. The hemp industry is expected to grow 700% by 2020. And these aren't numbers that we pulled out of the air. These are from publications that you can find online, like Forbes and Time and Newsweek. But this industry is expected to explode to 22 billion by 2022, and $1 trillion industry by 2030. What's that?
That's a lot.
But
that is larger. That 1 trillion is larger than corn and tobacco industry today.
Yes. And there are many farmers, since the act was signed back in December, there are many farmers that are clearing those corn and tobacco fields and planting hemp, because of the income revenue per acre is way, way more. I know several of you here today have done MLM and direct sales. Christopher and I had not. We'd never experienced it. And we've learned a lot. We're still learning every day. And one of the most important things that we've learned is that the success of this business is being at the right place at the right time. And I have to say that has not always been my MO. So it's just always like pulling myself, through it. And so to be this needle that we're seeing here, that's just now starting momentum, it was sitting back towards the beginning of concentration when we came in October. And when you compare this needle and where it's sitting to other MLMs, this explosion that's going to happen with momentum can take anywhere from 6 to 10 years or longer. And during that time, that's when your 6-figure income earners are born. And so if you come into this before that, you're assured of that success if you're working the business. When you get up to, the top there, there's income there to be had, but nothing like people that come in at the beginning of the momentum. So those numbers, another thing that I picture when I see this is that 2% global pool. If things continue to explode the way that we have seen, and the evidence is there, and that the nation is saying that's going to happen with this hemp industry, that 2% of sales at Zilis is just going to continue to explode as well. And so I think that's going to be a large part of the income for several people, for
Yeah.
lots of people.
And one of the things that I get excited about this one is when I look at the momentum, and we don't know that climb, whether that's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years or greater. But when I look at other social marketing, direct sales, multi-marketing, those where they all have that same graph.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about with Zilis is we've been in it almost a year. When we first started, there was only the CBD in lemon and berry. There wasn't even the topical. There wasn't the boosters. There wasn't CBG. So we have something that when I say, this train's left the station, and I think we can all look back at some point and say that we saw somebody that reached out to us to do something, and we chose not to for some reason. It just wasn't the right time, but we look back and like, man, kind of wished I'd have gotten into that. And Kim and I kind of talked about that when this first approached us. But when I look at it, what I didn't realize then that I see now is we've already grown through 5 products, and I see those growing. So we continue to release new products that I think even will magnify that timetable, to drag it out, because it's not one product you're doing.
Right.
And when it's flooded the market, you're done,
Right.
So I love that part of it.
I do too. I'm excited to see what. So there are 3 different ways that you can become involved with Zilis. We said this looked like the Olympics earlier. I like that. Bronze, silver, and gold. No matter how you come into the company, you get your products, you get your personal website, you get your Zilis cloud, and that's the numbers part. That's the reports, all of your training, this presentation, your resources about the product, videos, everything you ever could need to actually work a business if you're interested in that. And then that wholesale pricing that I talked about, where you can buy a product, or you can buy, buy your product in bulk and get to that 200%. That's where that comes from. So I'm going to start with gold, because I'm being a business person. I feel like you can't talk about a business, and I can't tell you how great of a haircut I can give you and never give you the haircut. I can't tell you how great this product is and not ever share with you the product. And I believe in that. And maybe it's because Monty dropped that product off to me. He could have stopped by and said, Kim, this product is great. It's going to change your back. And I would have probably never even bought it. I would have never believed that something in a little bottle was going to change my life and my pain. And so with the gold, it's $12.99, and you get 24 of those 7-day challenge sizes. You get 12 of the mini topical, and you get 12 of the sublingual. You now get 3 of the large sublingual ultracells with lemon berry and raw. You get a large topical, and you get, I believe, I can't see. You get 3 of the CBGs. Okay. And so you've got plenty of product there to talk about it, to share your story, tell what it's done for you, and then to be able to do a business with it. For $5.99, you can do the silver package. You make 15% off of your team, and you get 2 CBDs, and a topical as well. And then with the bronze, it's $1.99. You make 10% off of your binary team, and you get a little topical. You get a little topical, and you get a large sublingual. The great thing for bronze is if you are wanting to be a product buyer. If you're not wanting to do the business, if you're not looking to share the product with others, you're just wanting to use it for yourself, it's the better way to come in than to just buy the product, because you get it at wholesale. So if you're on this call and you're interested in being a product buyer, nothing wrong with starting off bronze. Another great thing that Zilis does is that they let you upgrade from bronze to silver or gold at any time. It takes about 2 seconds to do so. You pay the difference in price and they send you the difference in product. So I know many people that are doing a successful business with Zilis that thought they were just going to be a product user. We did come in gold because we were going to sell it at the shop, but I can see where I could have easily failed and came in as bronze. Failed for me, not for everybody, but for me, because I wanted to sell so much of the product. So if you're interested in sharing the product with others, you need to do more than bronze. So I am going to be quiet at this point. I muted somebody because we were getting some background noise, so let me unmute them, see if it's a little quieter, and see if you have any questions. First of all, we can go back and talk about product. If you have any product questions, talk about the business. If you have business questions, if you do have to jump off, please reach back out to the person that invited you to the call. We would love to lock arms with you. Christopher and I are in this. We're going 200 miles per hour. We don't see that stopping. We're having the time of our life. We're definitely going to continue to devote our nooks and crannies to this business and to fulfill our dreams. But also just because now we're hooked and we absolutely love it. So if we invited you, please reach out to us. If Mia and Cheryl invited you, please reach out to them and let them help you with the next steps of becoming part of Zilis. But if you don't have to jump off and you have any questions, we'd love to answer those for you. Anything you want to add to that, by the way, Bucky? Anybody? Cheryl?
Yeah, Michael's got a question.
Yeah, if somebody gets in